Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. We're just a few days now before the start of the SNP conference in Aberdeen, and we've already done the video on how the likes of Fergus Ewing and Alex Neil will not be attending because, as far as they're concerned, the party's dying on its feet. This, of course, will be, as I mentioned, a great relief to Humza Yousaf, who just doesn't want these troublemakers attending. However, there's going to be at least one troublemaker there, I suspect, and that is in the form of Alyn Smith. He today has launched an absolutely massive attack on the leadership and on the ministers, the upper echelons of the party, claiming that they are completely out of touch with normal people. And of course he's right. They are. They don't mix with normal people. This is why they all go off on first class flights and book private yachts rather than using a ferry and things like that. They don't want to be trapped in the same area as normal people, because normal people, of course, will tell them exactly what they think. That's the last thing they want. So he's launched this attack on the leadership just days before the conference. Humza Yousaf is sitting there now thinking, I've got to go to Aberdeen and I don't know what the hell is going to hit me when I get there. That's assuming, of course, anyone else even bothers to turn up. It is a long way, and there's snow expected, so who knows? Fergus won't be there. Anyway, we'll have a look at this, see what Alyn Smith's saying, and see why he's absolutely right in what he is actually saying about the leadership. So, SNP MP Alyn Smith launches blistering attack on his own party as he labels the Holyrood ministers out of touch. Well, they're out of touch, out of ideas, out of money, out of luck, out of talent, and rapidly running out of time. The Stirling MP accused Humza Yousaf's administration of forgetting how to listen to the public as the SNP's Rutherglen and Hamilton West post-mortem continues with even more infighting. And it will continue for some time because they all know the writing is absolutely on the wall. They've got to change, and the only way they can change now is a change of leadership. The SNP MP launched a blistering attack on his own party at Holyrood, calling nationalist ministers out of touch. Alyn Smith's brutal broadside comes just days before the party meet up for conference in Aberdeen. In a sign that the infighting under Humza Yousaf's leadership shows no sign of abating, indeed it's getting worse and louder, the Stirling representative made some damning claims about the SNP executive in Edinburgh. I presume they mean Stirling the police. It's not that he's an excellent representative, and of course that's exactly what they mean. I can spell. Anyway, it comes back. You say I can spell, and then sometimes I have trouble reading, as you know. Anyway, it comes on the back of a crushing by-election defeat in Rutherglen and Hamilton West, with a 20% swing to Labour. And I remember sitting up and watching that, and I was just agog. I mean, I was literally mouth open agog when I saw the result. And I pulled the old calculator. I was like, blah, blah, blah. My God. And it got there even quicker than they announced on the TV. It was like, that's a 20% swing. Anyway, if this swing was replicated across Scotland, up to 40 nationalist seats would be up for grabs, with Mr Smith under real threat from the Scottish Tories in the new Stirling and Strathallan constituency. He may not even get the chance to keep his seat as he's being challenged from within by Ashan Khan, the husband of local MSP Evelyn Tweed, because everything's got to be incestuous in the SNP. If everyone's married, everyone's got to look after each other, that kind of thing. And so it's they've got to push this sort of thing. Anyway, Mr Smith was quick to criticise Holyrood for the by-election defeat and claimed that the SNP government have forgotten how to listen. Writing for the pro-Indy newspaper Pravda, or The National, he took shots at the minister's special advisors, saying there were too many of them. Well, we've done a video on that, and there was like hundreds of thousands of pounds in sort of redundancy money for the SPADs. They're not government officials. They should be paid out of party funds, but they were paid out of public funds. That is completely wrong. And if the ministers are too stupid to do the jobs that they need the special advisors, then why are the ministers doing the jobs in the first place? Anyway, he said, we need to heed the wake-up call. The fact is, and I've proven I will defend my party to the last breath, he says, but I think the SNP looks like we've forgotten how to listen. We look out of touch, both in our perceived priorities and on how we manage the day-to-day business of government, like procuring ferries, recycling bottles, upgrading roads, and protecting our marine environment. None of those things are achievable, while you're constantly looking at independence, of course, and that's the problem. None of them are achievable while you've got the Greens as well. That's the other issue you've got. Hopefully, the conference will attend to that issue. Anyway, he said, this matters. Our credibility is built on diligent competence. You've got no credibility because you've got no diligent competence. You're a bunch of incompetent morons. Every single one of you. You've got nothing right. You look at every minister. They're all failures. Too many of our ministers and spads seem behind the curve on how benignly intended consultations are perceived outside the bubble, until a DRS-style collapse is unavoidable. Humza Yousaf has made a decent strides in sharpening up the government. This needs to accelerate. Is he looking at the same Humza Yousaf everyone else in Scotland is looking at? Because if he is, he needs a better pair of glasses. In a further sign that some SNP politicians want to back away from their core independence, Mr Smith claimed that the party should not double down on Skexit, as this would be navel-gazing, and instead should be engaging with the key issues such as the cost of living crisis, the NHS, social care, substance abuse deaths, alcohol problems, transport, communications, employment, the economy, banking, competence in government, legislative hold-ups. I could go on. There are so many areas where they fail. Education, another big one. There's so many areas. You pick an area, they're failing in it. Anyway, this is what most Scots care about, according to the latest polls. And Scottish Labour's focus on this is what has led their resurgence across the country. But Mr Smith, for all his harsh words, did admit he'd be falling in behind Mr Yousaf's crackpot independence proposals. He knows they're mad, but he's going to stick with them because they've got nothing else to offer. How very sad for the people of Scotland that the only thing that their government can offer them is a plan that can never possibly work. Deary me. Anyway, the First Minister wants to start negotiations to break up the UK if the SNP win the most seats in Scotland at the next general election, and they won't, meaning they could lose more than 20 and still claim a mandate. It's bonkers, isn't it? All Westminster will do is pick up the phone, hear what he has to say, go, yes, thank you, bye, and put the phone down, and that'll be the end of it. What are they going to do? Invade? Anyway, he says, I think more is needed, and that's why I'm backing an amendment drafted by Tommy Shepherd, another moron, to the effect that we also, as well as independents, campaign for the transfer of power to hold a binding referendum. In other words, they're saying, well, we don't have the power to have a referendum, so why don't we ask for the power to hold a referendum? Doesn't mean we'll have a referendum, I promise. Just means we'll have the power to ask for it. It means exactly what it says on the tin, doesn't it? They think you're stupid. They absolutely think people are stupid. What is wrong with them? If there's anyone stupid, it's the people sitting in Holyrood. Anyway, the manifesto of the campaign will then not just be about independence, because a vote for the SNP has always been and always will be a vote for independence. It's certainly not a vote for good governance, that's for sure. It will be about the powers to choose independence and to tackle the cost of living crisis, where Westminster has demonstrably failed. Oh, bless. And you think you can do better? You've failed in every single aspect, and all of a sudden you think you can do better. Deary me, Mr Smith. I think you need to go back to school. And also, you need to buy some glasses, because the Humza Yousaf you're looking at, he isn't the one I'm looking at. I'm coming up. So, more infighting, more disruption, more people saying that the leadership are doing a bad job. It's like, why don't they just split the party into two parties? Because they are just so riven with division at every opportunity. Now, of course, he's saying that the party's not listening and there's problems there and there. But he's also saying, yeah, we've got this really stupid idea, but I'm going to back it. Because he's got nothing else to give. They've got no other option except to go, if we win more seats than anyone, not the majority of the seats, just more than someone else, that's a mandate for independence. No, only through a referendum, and you're not getting one. You might as well accept you're not going to get a referendum for at least another 10, 15 years. And even then, when you get one, you're going to lose it. So then what? Indy Ref 3? Indy Ref 4? Keep going till you get it? It won't happen. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. I think that's probably my last video of the day, unless breaking news or some things happen. So have a good evening, and I will speak to you later. Bye.